Welcome to the Hazard Class Podcast. This is the podcast where I get to ask my stupid questions of some of the smartest people in and around the world of emergency services. My guest this week is a fire captain hailing from the city of Camden, New Jersey. He's been in the fire service for over 28 years, with the last 19 in Camden. He's a nationally recognized and revered fire service instructor who manages the empire that is Eckert Fire Tactics, which is a training company that administers fire training across the country. He focuses his time on teaching an aggressive, street-smart version of firefighting that places his courses in high demand. It's my privilege to welcome my guest, Captain Bobby Eckert. Bobby, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah. So as is the format of the show, we open up our show every week with the Wheel of Stupid Questions, which is just a reminder that asking questions, even if they're stupid, is good. And if you point them at the right people, you can get some pretty smart answers. So with that, we'll bounce into that segment. All right, so time to, oh, look at that. We got a helper. I love it.
Always.
All right. This is a good one. Bobby, who is your favorite 80s or 90s action star?
Oh man, that's going to be tough. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Schwarzenegger just because it's gonna be Terminator 2 for me, and the soundtrack with Guns N' Roses. I mean, hearing "You Could Be Mine" that changed my whole perception on music growing up. Yeah.
Oh man, Terminator 2. I remember as a kid, everything was that sawed-off shotgun, spinning it around. Yeah. Oh, and that was just like anything that remotely resembled that. I was trying to spin around like Arnold, you know. So let's get into this. There's some stuff I know for sure we want to talk about based on the recent history, but I want to get in from the beginning first. So let's go with this. How did you start? I know you're a second-generation firefighter, but talk to me about that time early on. Getting involved in the fire service.
Even my dad was a fireman. Just grew up hanging in the firehouse, going to the firehouse. They had a wretched schedule back in the day, so my dad spent a lot of time there, and it was in the town I grew up in. So, we'd go eat on lunch there, go eat dinner there. I just was around it. And they started like a junior program, and that's how I kind of got involved in it, and it kind of just platonically flowed from there. I don't know if I guess as a child, I always thought I'd have like some part of the fire service, and I always wanted to be involved in it. However, I didn't know it would take me this far, this deep. It just kind of happened.
So early on, what do you remember about being at the fire station? Do you remember like particular runs or anything about the station that like sticks out?
Growing up, I remember the smells. It was a different time. It was the 80s. So, the cigarette smoke with diesel fuel and oil on the ground and coffee was that smell. And then you go up on the second floor where the lounge was and stale Busch beer and from the beer taps. And yeah, my fondest memories would be the smells and just observing the different characters that were kind of involved where I grew up.
For sure. So, then you said you started like a juniors program. When did you actually end up going to your first fire?
Well, I mean, my mom would take me when I was a kid. My dad would take me to Buff a little bit as a kid, but the first fire I ever participated in was on Conger Avenue in Collingswood. It was a bedroom fire, and we just like changed air cylinders. It was a different time than it is now. And yeah, it was just a bedroom fire. Well, not just a bedroom fire, but it was pretty. Yeah. They had fire show them when they showed up, and I was on the first engine because we could ride back then. And yeah, it was just cool to see it kind of all unfold. And the rest is kind of just haven't looked back since.
So you were first engine, so you were on the nozzle, or you weren't able to go in?
No, I wasn't able to go in. I was just a junior, so I was like kind of crammed in the back of the cab with the career staff, and we just pulled up and helped them get the line off and watched them do their thing.
Do you remember your first fire where you actually got to go inside?
I do. I do. I was 18. It was on Park Avenue in Collingswood. It was the second floor rear bedroom fire, a balloon frame, and it got up in the attic. And at the time, how we ran, we went one engine out and then the second engine out, then the ladder. I was on the second engine, and we went up. We deployed a hose line to the third floor. And we had like fire in the walls. It was for being new, it was decent heat, and the visibility was zero. And yeah, we got to be a little baptism there of learning what it's all about and balloon framing.
Yeah. Did that live up to your expectation leading up to that, do you think?
Yes and no. It was a wee bit chaotic, and I kind of realized at the time where I was from was probably a little less organized than I thought it was. So that got my mind thinking, and it was cool. It was fast paced. Well, not as fast paced as it was when I went to the city, but there's just a lot going on that they don't really teach you in Fire One, or they don't show you. So yeah, it definitely lived up to. I mean, I was still in high school. It was like I was off from school that day. I forget what I was doing. It was like a holiday or something, but I was still a senior in high school.
Wow, what a story to come back to the lunchroom with, I think.
Yeah.
So then they'll walk me through that. So then you go from these, your experience as a junior. I assume that first fire probably wasn't in Camden, right?
No, I was in Collingswood, town I grew up in.
Okay.
Park Avenue.
So then how long did you spend there before you finally get to Camden?
I left Collingswood as a career staff. They expanded it in 2002, and I got picked up on the career side of it. It was like a firefighter EMT. We ran a lot of EMS. We rotated, but it was mostly to run the ambulance. I lasted there until 2006, so about 4 years. All in total, I was there about 6 years. I was there after I got hired in the city. I stayed on the volunteer side because the combination department, what was a combination department, I stayed on for a little while, but life gets busy and you kind of lose time for that. For sure. I left for the city in April. Well, last week of March 2006 was my last week in Collingswood.
So then now talk about your breakthrough into Camden. Like, what do you remember about like the hiring process, getting the job, the academy, stuff like that?
Well, you have to live there. There definitely is there's a residency requirement. So we live there. I live with my best friend who passed away of cancer. We had a great time, but I was like real serious about getting the job. So I wasn't like, we moved a couple times because a couple of houses we were in were like party houses, and I didn't want to get kicked off the list. So I was like kind of like really serious about it. And yeah, got hired, went to the academy the first day and met some of the greatest human beings I ever met in my entire life, and had no idea the impact those relationships would have in my life to present day. And yeah, we hit the ground running and was in the academy for 13 weeks and hit the street.
So then now you hit the street. What's the probationary period like that? It's a year, or is it longer? Or
it's a year. And when we came on, they do it a little differently than they do now. You rotated through two engines and a truck. So I went for an engine, a truck, and an engine. Not everybody's rotation was the same. And so I got, and it kind of bounced you all over the city. So you kind of got to work every part of the city. It's a small city. It's only 9.9 square miles of land, 14 of water. So it's tight. So, bounced around the city a little bit, got to meet a bunch of different people. And yeah, it was very interesting. The first year was very interesting for me. It was a very tough transition for me. So
do they have lieutenants there, captain? It's only captains?
It's captain. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Jersey thing.
Yeah. Same way. My department's the same way. Only captains. So how long do you spend as a firefighter before you promote?
You can take the test in 3 years. You have to have 3 years in grade to take it. I took the first test that was available to me. So I probably had 7 years on when I took the test. And then I got promoted in 2016. And I had about just under 10 years on. It was like 9 and some change. I was right near 10.
So how do you get into training then? I assume you probably started training, before you even probably got onto your career department, I would imagine. And then
like teaching or taking classes?
Yeah, teaching.
Oh, well, I grew up like around the firehouse, seeing my dad do a lot of training with the guys. Collins was at a drill tower at the time. I remember my mom taking me over there and, seeing them guys back then in the 80s. You could do live fire there, that type of thing. I got hired at the local fire academy when I was probably like 2013, 12-ish, 13-ish, 14-ish, around there. I don't remember the exact date. And I was teaching Fire 1. I loved it. I miss it greatly, actually. And it just was, the curriculum was daunting to teach. And I would be teamed up with maybe an instructor who didn't have the best delivery to students, was treating it more like a military program than, and that's not me. So it was that the director at the time, him and I didn't see eye to eye on the curriculum, the equipment, and it was just like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. So I parted ways.
So then, where does the leap go from teaching in the fire service like internally to now reaching out and teaching classes regionally and now nationally under Eckert Fire Tactics? What's the origin story of that?
It's nothing exciting. I've told it before. I was hurt and I was laying in the hospital. Got access to my phone and I went on Instagram or Facebook and saw, Instagram, I didn't have Facebook at the time. Saw like this post and I'm like, no, like, this guy, I could do this better. I could do this better. And I just like wrote like an engine program and put it in for a couple conferences and got one and just kind of kept going from there. And yeah, it kind of just grew. I kind of always wanted to do the hands-on. Getting the insurance was the hardest part.
Yeah.
And I journal a lot. I write a lot of things down. So I would like write my ideas down. And I got some of my closest friends that are in the fire service that are just as crazy as me, if not crazier. And we just took a leap during COVID too. That was a great idea.
Yeah, certainly made it more difficult than probably could have been otherwise. One of the big things that you seem to drive home in kind of all aspects of your teaching is this idea of street smart firefighting. What does that mean to you? And what's that, what's that ideology?
I think it's proven tactics that happen every day in all over America. It's stuff you're not going to see in the book. A lot of the entry level, I think all the entry level books are complete trash. 4 firefighter ladder carries, things like that aren't even, they're not applicable to anybody's operational reality. So how can you say to do this in a book, but I don't have that many people to throw a ground ladder and I need to get this 35 alkylite to the rear right now. What do I do? So it's more like learning how to work within your environment and using your head and treating this job how it is a blue collar trade. So learning the trade, learning how to use the equipment properly, maybe some unorthodox ways of doing things that wouldn't be in a book or people wouldn't even think of. So that's kind of street smart. Street smart to me is tried and true. It works all the time.
What do you think the resistance is? And this is a through line from every instructor that I respect is the books that you get on the ground floor of Fire 1 and 2 are pretty much like garbage time. It's just enough to pass the state cert exam or whatever you want to do. And then now it's like, let me actually teach you what's going on. So often,
it's so counterproductive.
So if everyone that has any bit of credibility agrees with that sentiment, it would seem, what's the resistance to changing it, do you think?
People are going to lose money.
You think that it's some sort of NFPA conspiracy? Maybe not the NFPA,
but there's money. There's money involved in this. People want to make money. This is their way to make however it rounds about. It's a money game. They're afraid of losing money.
I would love to think that at some point the powerful instructors in the fire service could overpower that somehow, and we could go to an academy system that doesn't waste 3 or 4 weeks every time just pushing us through some sort of broken curriculum. But
you'd have to get the instructors to agree and get along in the same room, and that'll never happen either. So
that might be the hardest thing. We'll get to that later. But so then, as we talk through street sports firefighting, I've also seen this stuff that's super interesting. And so, talk to me about your Taking It to the Streets conference, which is super cool. Like, break that down. It seems to be like some sort of mobile conference that you can bring around and just like launch out of the bed of a trailer.
Yeah, we can do it mobily. I the last year and for the next year, I'm going to be doing it by me, but I can come to you and do it. It's 14 skill stations, engine and truck, a little bit of RIT, and you just rotate through the stations. They're about an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15 minutes, and the redundant things you get are. Day one, you get force plunging and visibility. Day two, you get force plunging to zero visibility. You get hose lines, but in different scenarios, and you get search, but in different scenarios. And then the rest, we trickle in different things. And it's basically everything you should have been taught in Firefighter 1 and Firefighter 2 on steroids.
Yeah. How did you come up with that idea to kind of make this like mobile, lab that moves around for training? Like, I feel like I haven't seen it that way. I've seen it like. Yeah.
Somebody told me it was impossible to do.
Okay. I love that. So, you take the challenge. You say, all right, you say it's impossible. I'm going to make it happen. That's the kind of thing.
Yeah. If you doubt me, it turns me on. So,
yeah.
No, it was more of just kind of bringing it everywhere because people don't. It's intimidating when we roll up. We just start throwing equipment out. I have a lot of equipment. So we just start rolling equipment out. And we build all our props and people kind of don't really know what's going on. And then, boom, it happens. So to kind of like keep things streamlined, we've been doing it kind of near us and it's been working out a little bit better. People coming to us for the foreseeable future.
Awesome. So the last thing I want to talk about as we kind of build up this story of who you are and what you do. I'll just talk about the books. Tuesdays are for Tactics. Super cool. Talk to me about those and what kind of inspired that, how they got written, what they're for.
I just took my Instagram post basically and put them in a book. It was more of like, hey, what will fit in a bathroom next to a toilet?
There we go.
And I did two. I have one more done. I'm just waiting a little bit to put it out. I'm hoping maybe by St. Patty's Day-ish. I know I said that last year, but I've had a hellacious year personally. So I'm trying to get through that. And then I'll probably drop the third volume. It's just 52 tactical tips. You can get some through my experience. I don't put anything in there that I haven't done on the fire ground multiple times without a positive result. So, or I'll put some mistakes in there that I've done that have not worked out for me. And if you get something out of it, cool. If not, that's fine too. It's written at eighth grade reading level because that's what I read at. Kind of fireman friendly, and it fits right next to the toilet.
Perfect. All right. So that brings us to the topic at hand. So I saw some stuff happen recently, and I reached out to Bobby. We had already been planning on doing a podcast, and I say, "Hey, Bobby, there's a hot controversy going on right now. I want to give you the opportunity to talk about it because it's silly to me. It makes me laugh when I see it. It's just how these fire service goblins just come and try to pick each other apart, which is crazy. So break down this whole New York hook push pull pry controversy that's reeling the internet right now somehow.
We don't call a New York hook where I'm from. We call it a multi-purpose hook. So it is multi-purpose. Okay. It's sparked from, I was working overtime recently, and I've seen this happen many times where I work. We have a ton of flat roofs. We're Row House USA. So when the truck goes to the roof, when you have a flat roof on a Type 3 ordinary constructed house, the roofing decking is combustible. So it's like tar paper and tar. Well, on a wood frame house with a peak roof, when they re-roof, they take the shingles off, right? And if you need new plywood, they put plywood on, then re-shingle, and boom. Okay. Yeah. With a Type 3 ordinary, they don't do that. They just roof over roof over roof over roof over roof. So you can get very thick roofs, 6 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches, 12 inches. You'll drop the blade all the way in, and you'll start pulling the material up. All right. Or prying the material up, and you got to cut another hole in. And I've seen guys try to go after the decking of the roof, and they're trying to pry, and they bend the bar. Oh, yeah. Now the hook, when you hold it straight up, the hook part of it, or whatever you're calling it, the multi-purpose part of it, when it's pointed towards the sky. I was showing a program. I'm like, look, man, if you flip it over, you can get under the decking and just give it a couple pull, and it does real quick work on it. That was it. So I made a post and I worded it improperly, which I'll totally admit, and I put intended purpose, and they came out of the woodworks, man. So it's not even, bro. I mean, the amount of violence I was threatened with in my direct messages was ungodly, man. Ungodly. People just saying all the negativity in the world. I don't care if you disagree with me. That's fine. It doesn't like. I honestly don't care. I'm just letting you know what works for me. I'm not over here saying. I mean, I've pried boards off, bars off. I've done it. But I've also seen it used improperly and bent being pried in the wrong manner. That's all I was going with it. But I mean, there's some guy made a sticker out of it. I guarantee he doesn't donate any money to charity. Actually, I hope he hears this and thinks about doing that. So if they sell, but listen, man, if that's what makes you sleep at night, because I didn't lose a wink over it.
Yeah, it was wild, man. It blew up from like a post that I was like, oh, there's a different way to use a tool. I saw it. Ironically, I saw it before it even blew up as a thing. And I was like, oh, a different way to think about using that tool. Like, no big deal at all. I'll personally confess, I have bent the shit out of a few hooks, right? In the wrong circumstances, you're beating the crap out of you got a job to do, you bend a hook, whatever, right? You can fix it on the back end. But I totally understand the sentiments you're getting at too, right? But also this culture inside fire service, instructors or people that claim to have some sort of knowledge to just like jump down the throats of somebody else for no reason at all. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if we're all trying to get ahead in the same way and advance the fire service and make people better and stronger, I don't understand how it becomes so personal and visceral. And
well, you have to want to make yourself better and stronger. I think a lot of the people that do things like this or go on the attack or make stickers in a negative way, their negativity is they already think they're the best, or they already think they're God's gift or whatever, and there's no more room for growth. They're already at the peak of what they are, and what they are is great, and that's fine. If you think that's great. Like, first off, you don't work with me, and the jokes I worked yesterday. The jokes, I mean, the multi-purpose hooks that were being thrown at me yesterday during training was to die for. Like, I had to sit down. I was laughing so hard. So if you don't know me, you don't know my kids, you don't know my parents, you don't know my friends, and you don't work with me, and never been inside a burning building with me, your opinion about me means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It means absolutely nothing, because what people see or what they hear or what they think is one thing. My personality is the same all the time. And I know it's a little eccentric, and that's just how I am. I can't help it. I'm a very passionate person. My heart's on my sleeve. However, that being said, I can't imagine being like a 22, 23, 24-year-old kid and going after anybody like that without getting served a knuckle sandwich. And that's another problem here. You can't do things like that anymore. And it gives people room to think, they're whatever. So I think it's hilarious. I had so much fun these last couple of days. The jokes are unbelievable. The memes that my friends have made are hilarious. I literally printed 4 of them. I'm going to hang on my trailer. They're that funny. So thank you all for the laughs. We really appreciate it. But if you ever want to use that hook to pull up the decking, like flipping upside down on a flat roof, especially tongue and groove, and if it has any type of tin on it, it works really well.
Yeah, well, and I think that the audacity for someone to just especially based on your credibility in the fire service, to just
it's not about credibility. Completely. It's just I don't look at it that way, man. It's just I know what has worked for me. Yeah, and I don't ever put anything out that I've only done one time and been like, yeah, this works. Like, I've done it many times. Listen, man, it's hot air. It's hilarious. When they direct message me, threaten me with violence, they should seriously check out their employee assistance program or something like that, because they have mental health issues.
I can't fathom. That's the craziest thing, to think that you actually, I mean, the jokes are one thing. And at a certain point, they were happening so frequently that I was going well, maybe Bobby's in on it. Maybe these are all Bobby's buddies, and they're blasting him. Because obviously I know if I said something and anyone had an angle, everyone that is my buddy wants an angle on me and wants to take shots. And that's one thing. But
my guys were getting angry, and I told them all in group text, I'm like, don't say a word, not worth it.
Yeah.
Not worth it. You got to consider the sources sometimes, and I just think it's hilarious, man. Like I'm literally living rent free in your mind. Meanwhile, I'm sleeping like a baby and doing my EMT refreshers on my computer because I expired at the end of the month. Like I don't care.
Yeah. All right. So now we're on the topic of tools. I want to actually dive into your brain a little bit with tool stuff. So let's talk about tool selection. Is there a correct tool selection coming off the rig? Say, let's talk, we'll talk different types of rigs. So like, say we're an engine company, we're coming off the rig for an alarm. What's the correct tool selection for that rig?
I mean, it's going to be building instruction, occupancy type dependent, right? If it's a commercial building, if I'm in an engine company, we're going to come off probably with, I always carry my Pro Bar. I always carry it. There's so much I can do with it. So much you can do with it, from pulling and prying. But how we work, again, follow your SOP and riding assignments. Like if you're the nozzleman on my job, your job's the nozzle. Yeah. So, we're doing a quick investigation. You're by me. Maybe you're carrying like a set of irons or maybe like a water can. And, we're going in and figuring it out. And, we're not stretching any hose line. It's all dependent on the building instruction and stuff like that for an engine anyway.
Yeah. So just for sake of reference, where you're working, you have riding assignments, like in a certain seat, you have a certain tool or no?
Yes.
Okay. So that's not how we operate at all. It's kind of like a free form. Like, some people are like, oh, I always carry a, whatever axe, or I always carry a hook or whatever. Usually they try to pair those up. And so especially when I'm teaching, it's always this discussion of, well, what's the correct combination? And like for my purposes, I always try to recommend that one person have a set of irons, one person have a hook and a can, and then you can pretty much do every job on the fire scene with that tool assortment. Would that line up in your brain too, or what do you think?
Yeah, it's a great place to start. Again, it's going to be very situationally dependent what type of occupancy you're getting into. Because if you're getting into like a commercial space or like a strip store, you need to start thinking about bringing your search rope with you, that type of thing. How deep we get into this, what door are we going into, what doors am I going to face? Is the door open? That type of thing. You don't need to get real heavy on the. We're not obviously not bringing a rotary saw if we're going through the front door. Now, if I'm going to the rear of a non-combustible strip mall, I'm going to bring a rotary saw with me just in case I got to cut something in the rear, roll up, or I got a real tight door that there's panic hardware and I'd cut it off or something like that.
All right, I'm going to ask you, this is a personal question because I have a very strong opinion about this particular tool and I'm interested to get your take on it. What do you think about the Denver tool? I have very strong opinions about this tool, or the TNT. I don't even know if you.
Oh, the TNT. It looks like what the English play it, not cricket. The other thing, the
croquet.
Polo. Croquet. It looks like croquet thing. Yeah, I never used one, but I never understood. I've seen one, so I can't speak to it. I never used it or carried it, but I've always found it interesting. Like in the middle, like the shaft, the bar, whatever you're calling it. There's like a hole in it. Like, why is there a hole in it? I never figured it out.
Yeah, I know. It's
It looks like something. It looks like something Schwarzenegger would use in Terminator.
Yeah, it's like a post-apocalyptic nightmare. But yeah, so I have very strong opinions. I hate it so much. I hate it so much that the rig I work on has one, and it has my name written all over it because everyone on the crew knows how much I hate it. But yeah, I mean, it's a five-part tool that doesn't really do any one of the 5 jobs well. But
yeah, I have no experience. I've only ever seen them. I might have like picked one up once or twice. That was
good.
It.
I'm happy for you. I wish I could be in your shoes and never have seen it. But so let's talk now from a truck standpoint. Now, if we're talking about selecting hooks versus pike poles versus different lengths of them, what's your thought process as coming in as a truck captain? Do you want everyone to have the same tool? You want to purposefully have people have different tools?
I want to switch the tool. I want to switch the tools up. Where I work, I definitely want a Boston rake in there, the rake style hook, because of all the plaster and lath that we see. That thing goes through plaster and lath like butter. If we're going to the roof, I want the metal multi-purpose hooks up there. I want a flathead axe up there. 2 saws and a bag of rope. Immediately get that stuff up to the roof and start cutting. Interior, at least 2 hooks, at least 2 sets of irons. And yeah, we we should meet in the middle and be able to get through anything that we see. The more hooks, the better, in my opinion, because you always seem to, especially when you're first to engine and there's a lot going on. I always seem to be like, hey man, I need a hook up here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a next level firefighter skill is to kind of identify the trajectory of the scene and say, all right, we're going to need to transition from, irons to hooks or whatever it might be. And kind of getting ahead of that. I always try to instill in the newer guys that you got to kind of see where the scene's going and get ahead of it so you don't end up being behind it,
I tell the third guy on my engine to bring a hook. So we have that in there. So we're not, if something's going on outside, people hanging out of the windows, whatever, and they're ground ladders, whatever the truck's doing. Because when you have attached row homes and you pull up, there can be a lot of stuff going on the outside that the truck needs to handle. And if I can get water on that fire and start opening up, I got half my problem solved. So if I have a hook, it puts me in a really good spot.
What's your thoughts on pike poles, like the traditional fiberglass pike pole? Do you think they still have a spot in the fire service, or they kind of been replaced by that multi-purpose hook?
I think they still have a spot. We don't carry them, so I haven't had my hands on one in years. I couldn't tell you, have a consistent experience. I can tell you Philly still carries them. They use them all the time. I never heard anybody bitch and moan about them.
Yeah. We generally don't carry them unless we have something that we need a long extension. If we want to have a 12 foot or something like that.
Our 12 footer is one of them guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So as we kind of look to wrap this thing up for you, what's the future of Eckert Fire Tactics? What are you hoping to do here in the next year, 2 years, kind of looking into the future?
I don't know. It's I'm kind of like a crossroads with it. Not saying I'm going to shut it down or anything like that. It's being, I don't know. I definitely want to get my third book out. I got a couple side projects I want to work on. I definitely want to keep doing open enrollment. I love doing drill nights, coming to people's houses. That's our bread and butter. We love doing that. So right now, I guess business as usual. I'm trying to build out a couple more programs and get them rolling lecture wise for the beginning of hopefully get through the winter and drop them in the spring, maybe after FDIC time. I got one for fire behavior, and we have a command one we're working on. I don't command fire, so I got my guys that do. They're kind of working on it. I'm going to clean up for them. We'll have like a volunteer fire officer command thing. Oh, cool. For guys that don't really get that type of level training and at the academy or their academy doesn't offer kind of just some street stuff. And yeah, I'm just going to keep on keeping on what we're doing, man. It's a lot of fun at times. It's a lot of frustration at times. It's a lot of I'm going to hit the delete button at times. Yeah. So it's kind of all over. But I'll tell you this: when you're feeling down and out, or it's like exhausted you'll get like an email. Hey, we had a fire. It's like, I'll be from a fire chief. We had a fire. These kids were at your class and they did what you taught them. And this had a positive outcome. And I'm like, there it is. Like, that's all I care about is do we have an impact on people's operational confidence and their skills and ability? I really don't care about being liked. I really don't care what people think about me because they're probably wrong. And again, like if you don't know me, you don't know us, and that's fine. But I would probably just stand in the direction we're going in right now. I don't see us veering off course or doing anything crazy. I have an end goal in mind, but we're not even close to being there. We're probably 3 or 4 years out.
Awesome. So where can people find you? Where can people see you teach? Where can they see the content you're putting out? Websites, social stuff like that?
Well, EckertFireTactics.com is our website. We're working on updating that. We Eckert_335 on Instagram. Instagram is what I use the most because it's very, very easy. It's very, very, very easy to use. Facebook, Eckert Fire Tactics LLC. Good luck. I have no idea how some people's parents use Facebook because it confuses the shit out of me sometimes. So yeah, just check us out there. Instagram is where we have TikTok, but I haven't posted on it in a minute. I use TikTok now for recipes and going down rabbit holes with like aliens and stuff like that.
I support that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, speaking of which, you're in New Jersey. What's up with the drones, man?
I don't know. I have a few thoughts. I don't think they're our government. I don't know if they're another government. I don't know if they're personal. I don't know, but I can tell you in the area that they're going through, there's a lot of underground infrastructure right around there. And I'm wondering if it's something to do with that. But I just watched a podcast on by a former CIA lady. She was on Sean Ryan's podcast. I urge everybody to watch it. It was eye-opening about terrorism, things like that. So like it sparked my whole wheels turn. I don't know. I've seen them, but I just don't know. I don't know. It could be anything. I was really excited. I thought it was aliens, but it's not.
Not, unfortunately.
I just want to meet one, see what they look like.
Yeah. All right. So when you say you've seen them, is it like if you go out tonight, you'll see them? They're just there? Or is it like you get lucky, you see them one night or the other?
Yes. So I've seen them twice. They're more prevalent in a different area. Down in South Jersey, they were down here a couple times, and I saw them twice. So I haven't seen them in a while, but they're still going on, and nobody knows anything, which tells you somebody knows something.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, now that we've gotten sidetracked with the drones, well, first, I just want to thank you for taking the time to come talk to me. Hopefully gave you a little bit of a platform to defend yourself, even though this whole attack is so stupid. But you got my support for whatever that's worth.
Thanks,
and
man.
I appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast and talk. And I hope you just keep doing your thing, keep putting out good information for people.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too.